Things that continue to save you money day in and day out.
Because we believe a low-price car should keep on doing just that.
What's going on, everybody? Today we're talking about my 3D printer. It's an Anet A8 and it is a clone of the Prusa i3. I bought my unit off of eBay for around $160, and it did ship from the US from California, and it took about a week to get to me. Wasn't too bad, in about 5 days. A couple details about the printer. The bed is 220 by 220 millimeters, and the height is 240 millimeters. It does have a heated bed. Out of the box, it should be able to print TPU, PLA, ABS, luminescent, nylon, PVA, PP. The extruder nozzle that comes on it is a 0.4 millimeter nozzle tip. It does have a heated bed. So out of the box, you would take the SD card that comes with it, go to your computer and load up an STL file to that SD card, and once it's in the file, it will recognize it on the Anet. Alright guys, we're going to be talking about 3 things today. We're going to be talking about the mods that I did, mods that you should do regardless for safety, and also we're going to be talking about hardware and software as well, different mods that you have to buy and purchase and install rather than just printing. First off, we're going to be talking about the printed parts that I printed right away to help improve the quality of my future prints and just to help the Anet work better out of the box. Probably the first thing I printed was this fan mount right here that goes around the nozzle, the hot end, and just provides better airflow to the hot end so it can be cooled down better for your PLA prints. The next thing that I would add is a filament holder. I did print this filament reel holder right here. Pretty much what comes with it is a holder that just sits off to the side right here, and that's nice, but the rod doesn't totally fit inside the hole like so, and it gets caught up on itself and it's not too good for your prints. If it gets caught on the filament, it won't be able to pull it through the extruder. So what these ones do is they make it so it will roll a lot smoother. The next thing I printed was this Z end stop attachment. The stock attachment goes onto the acrylic right here, and it's a pain in the butt to get to and adjust, and also the screws don't hold really good. This is all on Thingiverse. I will add all these designs and the links to them on Thingiverse so you can print them yourself. This guy made it really easy. There was another bar right here before I added this, and it came down and it was just an M3 screw on top, and it touched the Z end stop, and it made it real easy to adjust that rather than adjusting your whole bed every time. The third thing I printed was these filament holders on top of the Anet. Now these are all printed. The end ones have rods in them, and they are fully 3D printed on this printer, both sides, and they just clamp on to the left and to the right, and just on this side, same exact mount but reversed onto this side. And what I did with the middle is this mount is on Thingiverse as well, and you can fit 3 of the smaller diameter ones, or you can fit 2 of these bigger diameter filament holders onto the center one. So without any extra wall mounted attachments or anything like that. We got 4, or if you have all of these size, you got 1, 3, and 1. That is 5 total filament reels up top on your Anet. So going along with the 3D printed extras I've added to this printer, we have this guide for the extruder wires, and that just cleans it up. Really, it doesn't, just like a couple other videos that I did see, it doesn't really help too much. It does help keep stuff out of the way, but it's just for looks really, and it makes stuff a lot cleaner build, and that's pretty much it. The next print I did was this Z end stop sensor, and that's an inductive sensor, and instead of leveling the bed before every print like this, the piece of paper, you just go over to this guy, and you don't really need to do anything. You go into Cura, and you go and you make the command to auto bed level. There's a lot of stuff that goes into setting up that inductive sensor, and there are a lot of videos on YouTube and videos on Facebook and groups on Facebook that will help you out with that. I got through it. Pretty much what I had to do was I had to go and install SKYNET V1 onto my computer, and we'll get into that when we talk about the hardware mods, or the software mods actually. So I do have a stock board right now. My wires are kind of a mess, so I might do something to clean those up, maybe some zip ties and stuff. These supports right here tie in to the top bolts for the frame, so they hold everything. I've seen them on Thingiverse that just goes up top and they just push up on there, and those don't, those seem like they aren't good enough. So I screwed them in, and now they're good to go, and they're nice and stable and sturdy. Another one of my first prints that I did was this filament holder right here. They just go onto the side, and really they can go a lot of places like this, and it'll make it real easy to guide the filament into wherever it needs to go. Another print that I know has saved a lot of time for me is this extruder fan for the extruder motor. It's really hard to get in there sometimes and get a good eye on where exactly your filament is going into. Pretty much there's a little hole in there, and it takes quite a bit of effort to get it exactly into that hole to extrude. Now with this mod, you get to have a nice little view window in there. Also, this is attached with a piece of magnet, so it just magnetizes right back on there. So yeah, it just magnetizes right back on there, and you're good to go again. This is the bed belt tensioner, and it's a real easy print. On a lot of these prints, you're going to need longer screws. Pretty much they try to keep it at M3 screws, so it won't be too hard to acquire them. And really, I had a lot left over from when I built my Anet to begin with, so I did use a lot of those, and it did work out great. So here is the bed belt tensioner right here. I did make a camera mount for my D-Link camera that goes off the side of the Anet, and it brings the camera over to the side of the bed so I can get a nice view for those long prints when I'm just down the street or somewhere else and I want to keep an eye on the prints. Now this camera is about $20, $30 on Amazon, and I would definitely suggest to get one just for your printer, really, because it comes in handy a lot. One of my most recent upgrades are these. They're kind of these feet for the Anet. I have 2 up front, 2 in the center underneath the motors, and 2 in the back. And it has taken away a lot of the wobble that the Anet has, and it really makes everything a little bit more level. I also have this filament guide that goes on the left, and it takes it and it sends it right into the stepper motor. and I have this extruder release, and you just push it down and it makes it real easy instead of pushing on that screw that comes with it. One thing you got to pay attention to is Cura and your settings in Cura. Now, you should watch a bunch of videos on this before you start printing, and you'll have faster prints, better prints than you would if you didn't know what your good settings, what the correct settings were. I was printing on this machine at 60 and 70 millimeters a second, and I can print up to 100 millimeters a second, and I didn't even know it, but now I do, so we're good to go. I printed this cover for the power supply, and it has a little lock right here so I can get into there if needed. It has my switch right here, and I'll go over that switch and stuff in the hardware mods that I do. I did get the Vertex build sheet, but I have not installed it yet. I am still running the paper, really just because I want to use up this paper, and then I'll install it. I just got it in the mail, so that's what that's doing. I have read a lot of good reviews on this Vertex sheet. Now, they do not last forever, but they do last quite a while. So rather than taking off your paper, or rather than taking off your tape every so often, you can leave this on for so many weeks or months or however long it does last, and it will be fine on this sheet. Alright guys, now we're on to hardware mods. So pretty much a lot of these are for safety. Now, the Anet is a pretty safe machine, but it does have its flaws. One of them are the wires to go to the hotbed. Now, I didn't have a problem for about 3 months, just like another review that I did see, and I didn't change out the wires because I didn't think I needed to. And actually, the version that I got had bigger wires, so that was good, rather than the smaller gauge wires that the other guy had. So I felt comfortable leaving it like that. But I did have one of the connectors burn on my hotbed, and it didn't start a fire or anything, it just burned out and the hotbed shut off. So that's it. But I did upgrade the wires to 12 gauge running from my MOSFET to my hotbed, and that brings me to the MOSFET. Now, there is a lot of power running through these wires that goes from the boards to the bed and to the extruder and things like that. Now, to help prevent fires and stuff from overheating, they have MOSFETs. I've installed a MOSFET for my heat bed, and it's working out really good. At first, I had this guy right here, and then I upgraded to a different one. Now, this one is great. This one will work fine, but I am just going to use this one for my extruder. I haven't hooked it up yet, but I am going to use this for my hot end on my extruder, so that won't fry. And like I said, out of the box, I used this for 3 months with no problems, and who knows, you might not have any problems at all. But just for safety, preventative maintenance, I would definitely do this MOSFET upgrade. Now, this MOSFET is about $10, and just like everything else over here, there's all these parts are fairly cheap, so it's not too bad on the wallet, but it just takes time to install them and things like that. Now, the power switch that you saw earlier, that just helps to turn on and off the machine. Now, usually you would unplug it from the wall and spark up the plug, and you're done, and it turns off. And that's not really too good. I think they should have installed this power switch at the beginning when they sent it out, or just added it so you can install it yourself in the kit or whatever it may be. But I think that's one thing that they should have definitely done to begin with. And now that brings me to the Z end stop inductive sensor. Now, that guy has really helped me out so much, and it has prevented so many headaches with the Z end stop pretty much with this machine. It does have a heated bed, which is great, but you have to adjust the bed all the time. Now, it is a pain in the butt. So pretty much you go get this sensor. It's an inductive sensor. If you get an inductive sensor, it's about $5 around there, $5-10, and you can get them and 3D print them out, of course, and wire it up, and you have bed leveling. Now, it's not true bed leveling, but it is almost exactly the same thing. So what happens is the z-axis comes down and it senses where your bed is. So what the inductive sensor does is it senses the aluminum on the bed, and it tells you exactly how far your hot end, which is your nozzle, is away from your bed. So it goes to 9 points on your bed, and it tells the computer exactly what your bed looks like. So it prints to that angle. If your bed's all messed up, I've seen things where it senses the angle and it'll print to the messed up angle of your bed, which is great. But yeah, ideally your bed would be level to begin with. But yeah, so the inductive sensor definitely helps with that. In order to get that inductive sensor working, you need to upgrade to SKYNET Firmware for your Anet. And that brings me into the software. Now the software that I use is SKYNET, and that lets me get onto my computer and tell the printer what to do through my computer. Send it commands and adjust things like that. Now there are commands that you will need to learn, M500, stuff like that, but it's really easy. Also, you will need to download Cura. You should already have Cura. Cura is really one of the more universal programs, but there are versions with the ability to run your 3D printer through it and adjust exactly where the bed is, everything like that. Preheat, start prints from your computer, things like that. Now, SKYNET is a whole new software. Instead of the stock Anet software that is on the machine, you wipe that and you run SKYNET. Now, you can go on Facebook and look at the Anet A8 group, and they'll tell you all about it. There are versions, I don't know, I think they're up to version 3 right now, 3 point something maybe, but I tried version, I don't know, 2.3.1, and it didn't work out too well. It was really frustrating, and I couldn't print for about a week and a half because I really couldn't get anything to work. So I actually tried version 1, and that works beautifully. I installed that no problem, and now I can run the Anet from my computer and start prints from my computer. Also, with that software, it lets you hook up your inductive sensor so you can have the bed leveling. Now, I used to use SketchUp to make 3D models, but I found a new program, and SketchUp is free. This new program is free. It is called Tinkercad, and that's the website. And you can log on there, and it's really easy to make 3D models and figure out what you want to build, and send those models to either Thingiverse to share or send them to Cura to print. And it makes life a lot easier, and I've made so many things with that program, Tinkercad. As you can see in my other video, I made a GoPro mount for my Falcon 210, which was one of the main flaws with that quadcopter, is that the props go onto the top of the frame, and it's just really short stack for the frame, and it helps bring the camera up so the props will go underneath the camera so you can run a full-size GoPro on your copter. Besides that, I've designed Woot boxes and things like this piece for this board cam. My piece broke. I didn't find any on Thingiverse. That's pretty much the first thing I'll do, is go to Thingiverse and just download something that's already made from someone. But with this program, it's really easy to make it yourself, and I designed these pieces, and they're a direct replacement for what I need them to be, and it holds that board cam up really nice at whatever angle you want. That took about 10 minutes, 20 minutes maybe to design and start printing. Alright guys, extras. Now, handy tools that you should have are extra nozzles. 0.4 millimeter is the stock. Now if you want to go ahead and get a Bowden extruder, some other kind of extruder, then that's great, and you can run different nozzles and things like that. But as of right now, we're sticking with the 0.4 millimeter, and you know, more nozzles, you can get a pack of like 5 or 10 nozzles for $5 or so. So instead of, you know, messing with the same nozzle for so many months, that thing is toast. Grab your new nozzle, stick it in there, and you're good to go. Now this is really what you need from the beginning. I made the mistake of waiting so long. I didn't even know that these existed. I was trying to find little bits and drill bits and different things like that that I could stick up in there and unclog it, but this is perfect. Comes with a little handle in there, and it really helps you out to clean out the nozzle. Now you stick it right in there and it cleans out your nozzle, and it will let you print a lot faster. Now, some things that I've learned over time is you want to make sure your machine is set up really good before you start your print, so you won't have any misprints like these ones. And one of the steps to do that is to make sure that your nozzle is nice and clean. Now if you're printing all day or something like that, then you should be good to go because it was just done with the recent print. But if you're just turned your machine on in the morning, you should heat it up, make sure your nozzle is nice and clean. If you don't have the inductive sensor, make sure your bed is level before every print, and you should be good to go. I went ahead and ordered some of this heat resistant tape for my extruder nozzle hot end, and it's just in case the tape that comes with it comes off or gets burnt or anything like that. That means that I'll have it right away and I'll be good to go. Now I printed a lot of things with this machine. GoPro tripods, Whoop frames, quadcopter frames, GoPro mounts, Runcam mounts, frame plates, tiny Whoop boxes, remote mods, replacement parts for the remote, gimbal savers, cooling fan shrouds, bunch of different goggle accessories, sword mounts, XT60 caps, and that's really just for drones and quadcopters and stuff like that. Now I've designed a lot of things almost every day that I need around the house or that somebody else needs, and I'll print it up right away and I'll give it to them and we're good to go. So the filament is anywhere from $15 to around $30 for PLA, and it goes up depending on exactly what manufacturer you're getting and what kind of filament it is. Now I did find some filament for $13 on Amazon shipped, which is great, and it's actually this filament right here. They still have ABS in stock as of right now, but they are out of PLA. Now they have really nice colors. This is actually the filament right here that printed this, and it's really cheap. And the filament itself is a really good quality filament. Now I do print in ABS with this machine, but it really helps if you do have a case around it, some kind of protection, and to keep in the heat and things of that nature, so your print will stick all the way to the bed and won't lift up and different things like that. Now I did have that bed wire burn. Also this fan right here for the nozzle burn out one day, and that's that. But besides that, I have had no problems with this machine. It is one of the cheaper machines and it is an amazing machine. I definitely have got my money back out of this guy, and I plan on printing a lot more things in the future, RC related. So if you have any questions for me, please leave a comment below. If you want to see more videos, please subscribe. I do Whoop stuff, I do 3D printing stuff, I do FPV stuff in general, and Phantom stuff, dual sport stuff, and have a lot of fun on this channel. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if I missed a link or anything like that that you would like. and I hope you guys have a great day. Later.